Hello and welcome to today's technical deep dive development session of NeuroSync. For everyone who doesn't know me, hi, my name is Janik. I'm the CTO of NeuroSync. I'm responsible for all technical stuff related to NeuroSync. And today, as we're still working towards our first user testing, I'm mainly doing development on our web application. In today's session, I want to focus on a new side of our application that we didn't tackle in a previous session, and this is going to be the task creation. We recently had a new meeting and a discussion about how we want to create tasks and how a user would like to handle these tasks. So we came to the conclusion that our current version isn't really that what we want anymore. So I'm trying now to re-implement this new logic that we decided upon. So I would say, let's not get any more time wasted and let's jump right into it. Currently, we are quickly going to start at our current version of the web page. As we can see, not so much has changed since the last time. We're mainly currently also working in parallel on some UI improvements, so it's much more scalable for the different screen sizes. And so the main thing we're going to work on today is this feature. So if you're going to click plus in here, you get the mask to create a new task for you. Currently the logic is like this. I can enter a task, test task. I can give it a start date. I don't know, let's say tomorrow, somewhat of a due date when this should be done and how long it's going to be. And a category. And if I want to, I could give it if I want to have it as a repeating event, I could say the recurrence patterns as a daily, weekly, monthly, and then when the recurrence should end. And then I could click create and it's going to create that task for me. So now we have here the test task in here. But yeah, as I said previously, we decided that that doesn't really make sense, right? Because a user, for example, would like to say, hey, I want to go to the gym, I want to work more out, I want to make more sports, and I want to do that like 4 hours per week and like 3 or 4 sessions. And then I want to let our algorithm, our application decide where to put it in your free time slots that you're going to have. So the ideal is now, or the idea that we currently have is to split the task into what we call now a to-do, a single to-do. So where you're just going to have a start date. So the earliest time you can start with that to-do, and a due date when you need to be finished with that task. And then a duration of how long this task is going to take. Based on that, we can calculate a start and end time that we're going to that we then can put into the calendar and let the algorithm reschedule your tasks. And then we have what we now call routines, which is going to be, which I just described, are multiple to-dos that basically go together with a single goal. For example, learning the flute or going to the gym 4 times a week, and that you then want to let the algorithm schedule that during that week. So for that, we're also going to need the start date and the due date. So the earliest time you want to start with this routine. Then when you want to be finished with this routine, this is also optional, right? So if you want to keep going for now and you do not want to set a due date yet, you can leave that open. And then also we need the duration and then the amounts of sessions per week that you want to do. And then we can calculate how many times, how many tasks, single to-dos we need to create in a week for you. So let's start with that. Let's just jump right into it. Let's start with creating the UI slots. As also with the previous session, we're up to date and using also generative AI to help us support with our development process. And if you might have been up to the latest news, there's also already an update out to use DeepSeek, so the newest model from China, which apparently is very, very powerful. So I haven't tried out yet, so let's see how it's going to perform. So let's firstly navigate to our Event component, not the event component, of course. I mean the create event. So the new event component, yeah. So I'm quickly going to implement that. I'm currently going to do a little time frame, and then when I'm done, I'm going to explain a little bit more, because I think that makes more sense than you just sitting here for 15 minutes, 20 minutes and see me rambling about stuff. I rather sit down, now implement it, and then we can see later together how it is going to work out. So let's do that. See you soon after the time lapse. Yeah, hello and welcome back. Some hours have passed, and yeah, I'm finished now. So actually I want to show you now what I've built and a little bit of the logic in the code, how it's working. Okay, let me quickly jump to the website. So you can see now the UI has changed a bit. We still have our title, but now we have a start date, an optional due date, then the duration of the task, the category, and now we can click here if it's a habit or not, and then we can say how many hours per week or per month we want to spend on that. So I will quickly show you now how it works on the UI, and then we're going to go into the code. So for example, I want to schedule, yeah, for example, a gym, that I want to go to the gym from the 10th and until the 16th. So that's so in that week I want to go per session, duration per session. I want to go to a 1 hour session, right? I want, so that's, for example, it's a routine, and I want to do like 4 sessions per week. And then I can hit create. Now if we go to the week, you can see I get four routines scheduled here, and now we can trigger the algorithm to actually sort them logically within your week. And they're currently already not getting put over your fixed events. Currently I don't have fixed events here to show that. So that also works for a single task. So maybe I want to do something between Thursday and Sunday. So yeah, from here to between now and Sunday, going to be only 30 minutes. It's going to be a fun task. Now if I create that, you can see it's somewhere between the time frame where I set it. So in that case, now it's the due time was 9:20. It's now from 10:15 to 10:45, which is nice. So actually now that works, which I wanted to create for you. All right, so quickly jump in the code. What did we do? So we added some new variables to create the event. So now we have the logic, if it is a habit or not. That's a Boolean value, so it can be true or false, yes and no, 0 and 1. We have a time total. That's the corresponding to the hours I want to spend, and then per time scope per week or per month. So for example, here you can say if we set the Boolean value, the yes or no value for if it is a habit or not. That's a checkbox. You can see here. And then we have here the logic. So if it is a habit, so if it is true, then we're going to show all these other UI regarding the time total and the time scope, which is looking like this, right? And so if, for example, I put it into month, I can also spend assign more hours to it, of course, than if it's a week. So we calculate it like, so you can, of course, not assign more hours that are in a week. So this is handled by calculating the totals if it's a week or a month. So, and then we send it to our resolver via GraphQL. So if I click the create button and submit, it's going to, of course, give me the time zone information that I'm currently using in the UI. So, right, we are not getting shifted or fucked over via with the time zones. And then we call this create event function. And this create event function is now here in our backend. Let me quickly find it. So there also we have a little bit of logic. So of course, right, I give the user which user created the task event, then the title description, right, the start date, the due date, the duration, the category, the weights for the mental states of their task, and then if it's a habit, the time total and time scope. So first of all, I'm grabbing the user reference from the database because I need to query some events from there. Then I check which calendar the user uses and save that there. So when we're going to sync later, if you can later, you're going to sync to you back everything to a Google Calendar, for example. So I'm going to save that you're using the Google Calendar when creating these tasks. Then I'm parsing the duration. So how many minutes is the task long? Because in the UI, right, we have this little hours and minutes time, and now I want to compute it better, convert that just into minutes. This is a function we use later. Then we check, if it's a habit or not. So is it a set of events that we're going to create, so basically recurring events, or is it just a single one? So let me start with the single task logic, because that's quite easier. So first of all, I'm converting the start date string back to a date string. And also I set the due date into convert it into a date. And also we have the logic as the due date can be optional. For now, this is going to be changed. We just say, okay, if you do not provide a due date, you probably want to do that like in the next 7 days. So it's going to be scheduled within the next 7 days. So we just set a custom due date for you, so the algorithm is not going to push it too far back. And then of course, I need to set an initial start time and assign it somewhere. And that's done by this function generate random time. So I just give it the start and the end and the duration, and it will pass through all of your events and see where it can place an event and where it can't. And it should also not overlap. So it will find a corresponding time slot for you. This is just to create the event in the first place. So after this, after I create the event in the database, I'm going to call the rescheduling algorithm to actually do the calculation of a smart scheduling. This is just a random scheduling to just create them and find some free spots for now. So afterwards, when the scheduling is not going to, the scheduler is not going to fuck up anything, of course, we might also maybe put that out, because if I directly reschedule it, the rescheduler should also be sure that it's not overlapping. So this might maybe also not need this. And then we just create the event for you in the database. And the only logic that's a little bit different for if it's a habit. So if there's probably going to be a couple of more events. So it's probably going to be a recurring event. So I'm going to assign it a new recurring event ID, so can match them all under one group. So also when I do updates of a single name, then also I can still update future events. And now, of course, as I only set, or the user only set the start date and the due date, and then the duration and how many hours he wants to do per week, I need to calculate in how many actual tasks or sessions that would end. So for example, if you have 1 hour session, 1 hour per session, and you want to spend 3 hours per week, of course, it's going to be 3 tasks. So then I'm going to schedule each of these single tasks, and if there are still like some remaining minutes, because you might want to say I want to do half an hour sessions, but roughly I want to do like 6 hours or like 1.5. So we want to do 2 hours per week. Then it's going to create one for 1.5 hours and one for 30 minutes. That's the current logic I did. And yeah, that's basically it. It didn't look as so. It's not looking as I've been doing a lot of stuff, but yeah, it took some time, as you could also see a little bit with the time with the skip time thing, with the fast forward. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I can see I'm a little bit done right now. And right, then I also, as I promised, I updated the logic so we can integrate now the algorithm in the future. So we're going to have the scheduled task function, which we're going to use to call the rescheduling algorithm. So now I can still give it the selected date and then the scope. So do I want rescheduling of the next week or the next month? And based on that, I'm going to pack up the new scheduler input for the API, and then I send it. And currently, as I just have a placeholder, so I can check if the input and output works, I just do not change the start time and event time, and then I update the start and event time, and later on I can replace that with the actual logic of calling the API input. So that was the session. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Give us follow and subscribe, and yeah, I hopefully see you all in the next video. Bye.